I was in a conversation with Jalen Reagor from TCU, and I didn't intend for the topics to do what they did. I didn't expect the conversation to go where it went, but I'm glad it happened because, frankly, it's something that we should all be talking about. So, long story short, Jalen and I were talking about mental health, a topic that he brought up, and well, just take a listen. Here's where it went.
Media, fans, and everybody, they just, it's certain things that we had built up that we can't say because of our platform, but it's just like most people don't understand that we're people outside of us being football players. So, and most people always say, okay, we do understand, we do, but most people just say that. They don't really understand because they're so caught up in, what we do on the field. Like, they don't understand that, okay, we have life problems, we have stuff that bothers us, just like the normal, the normal person that just doesn't play sports. So it's just like, why would you not think about somebody's mental health? You know what I'm saying? Because people will ask you to speak about it, and then be ready, and then they'll bash you the same thing. Like, the same person that interviews you that ask you the question will bash you about what you said, even though it's positive. So it's just like I said, people say that they understand, but they really don't, because they're not in those shoes. They don't know what it's like to lose a game and then go check your Instagram DMs or Twitter DMs. Nobody knows what that's like. So it's like, people ask, they just assume that it's just so, mellow and so flatline, but it's not.
Okay, so the next day, I brought up the same topic while I was talking to West Virginia's T.J. Simmons. You may remember T.J. Simmons transferred from Alabama to West Virginia, and then last year, during what was an absolute barn burner in Morgantown between the Mountaineers and Oklahoma, West Virginia had a long touchdown run negated after T.J. was flagged for blocking Trey Brown of Oklahoma approximately 4 yards deep into the stands. It was a penalty, and it should have been called, and I can tell you that without argument because Kyle's not here. But at the key point of it all is that it was an effort play. It wasn't, TJ didn't, it wasn't a celebration penalty. It wasn't a look at me thing. It wasn't, he didn't jump off sides for the fifth time in the game. It wasn't his third holding penalty because he could not block the guy in front of him. But, I'll get to all that. But all it was TJ putting forth maximum effort and blocking the absolute hell out of his guy. And on the play, West Virginia scored a touchdown in large part because TJ blocked the hell out of his guy. Now, he blocked him for too long, so the thing came back. Oklahoma ends up winning by 3. There's your context. Now, listen to what TJ had to say on the same topic when I kind of brought up social media.
I received a lot of scrutiny last year after the Oklahoma game because of the play I made and the penalty that we got. And they say a lot of people blame the game on me. A lot of people say I was the reason that we lost. And I just take it like with a grain of salt. Just I know the type of player I am, and I know what I was taught growing up. I was taught to do what I got to do, no matter what, just for the win of the team. And if my teammates and my coaches and my family are still supporting me after a loss or after I make a mistake or make a bad play, then it doesn't really matter what everybody on Twitter says.
Okay, so here's a little background on me. I studied educational leadership in graduate school with a focus on sports admin, and that's really just a fancy way of saying that I was taught how to lead the leaders of our student athletes. In the process of that, the area that I leaned into the most, I would say, was sports psychology. And as athletes, once we reach college, we've been identifying ourselves primarily based on our sport and the position we play within our sport for at least a decade. Hi, I'm Colby, I play linebacker. That's, or point guard, I'm the point guard, I'm the catcher, whatever the case may be. So when that gets taken away from us, be it because of an injury or because we just run out of an opportunity relative to our ability level, it's traumatic. Because, again, everything that you thought you were, everything you have been up to that point, now you're not that. So now it's, who am I? Who are you? I'm Colby, and I don't know what to tell you after that. But it can also be traumatic to be told that you're not good at that thing that you identify yourself as being. And that can happen while you're still playing. You don't have to be done playing to be told you're not any good at it. But it's worse still if the indictment of you as a player is followed up with a personal attack. Not only are you a shitty player, but you're so bad that I do not value you as an individual anymore. That's right. The latter is what Jalen was talking about. The latter is what TJ had to deal with after that loss. And quite frankly, there's just no excuse for it. I want you to understand, because we joke about it being Twitter egg. It's not always Twitter eggs, man. There's media members that come after players with blue check marks. Okay, there are plenty of regular, apparently regular dudes on Twitter, or women, equal opportunity here to insult people, that go after athletes on Twitter for what? Just know that you will never in your life be lamer than the moment that you start attacking an athlete on Twitter. For what? For dropping a pass, for missing a block, in TJ's case, for making a block for a little too long. You're never going to be worse than that. That is as bad as you're ever. That's the worst look. It is the worst look. While you sit there on your couch, 20 pounds overweight, primed to run like a 6-flat 40, but you would never actually make it 40 because you popped your hamstring before you ever got 40 yards downfield. You, that guy, on Twitter, on your phone, Coors Light in your left hand, phone in your right hand, Twitter fingers telling TJ Simmons that he, whatever awful thing you want to say to him. I'm not even going to try to dream up the type of responses that he was probably getting for that play. Same thing with Jalen Reagor. Oh, well, we expected more out of TCU. You guys ranked in the top 25, ranked in the top 10, whatever it was. And now you've lost more than you've won. You don't have any value to me anymore. You're not important to me anymore. You're not important as an individual. Jalen Reagor, wide receiver. You're not good enough at that to be valuable as an individual. That's what we tell these guys on Twitter all the time. You would be floored by the type of mentions that a guy gets when he makes a bad play, when he misses a play, when his team loses, when he may be the reason that his team loses, or is at least perceived to be. And by the way, there are 53 guys on an NFL roster, 100 and some odd guys on a college roster, and there are 22 guys on a field at one time. And I keep going. There are this many minutes in a game. There are this many yards on a field. There are this many plays running the game. You can't look at one play and say that's the reason that team lost. You can't do it. There's 65 other reasons why that team lost. That just so happens to be the one that sticks in your mind. And even if it was the one reason that they lost, it's inconsequential. It really is. In the grand scheme of things, it should never draw you to hop on Twitter, jump in their mentions, and tell them that they suck as a player or that they suck as a person. It makes you pathetic.